So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Akashic Blueprint meditation. And I was just telling the group that joined live that we tend to, yeah, I did a podcast with John Binney, a mindful leadership podcast with John Binney and Mabatu. And one of the things that keep us stuck is fear that came up, and a lot of us are stuck in work or in situations or in relationships because of fear. And fear is one of the most potent gatekeepers, I think, that we have towards our human potential, and one that is mostly understood. So it masquerades sometimes as protection. If it goes really unchecked, it becomes kind of like a prison guard for the soul. So it fear keeps us small, it keeps us stuck, and spiritually starved a lot of the time. So I looked at fear and what came up, and I think what's going to show up in the meditation is we're going to look at fear from a spiritual perspective, and it shows up in wounds, really, of wounds of separation, past life trauma, collective programming, cultural programming. It tends to show up in many ways like that. If we look at fear from a mental perspective, it tends to hijack our mind, and we get put into these loops of overthinking sometimes as well. So it's all based on our subconscious programming, and sometimes shows up kind of like ancestral trauma or unprocessed childhood experiences. Fear can also show up emotionally as well. It's where it keeps us emotionally trapped, makes us feel kind of like we don't feel the full spectrum of our emotions because it becomes unsafe. And I think we get taught that a lot. And that's one thing that came up in the podcast today is where, especially women and men, like where we're told to not express our emotions. We get told to be quiet, to not cry, especially when it comes to boys as well in showing their emotions too. So it's very much about emotional neglect and attachment wounds and family conditioning when it comes to, emotional fear. And then there's obviously the physical one as well, which it tends to flood our body with cortisol and adrenaline. And over time, this starts to affect our nervous system, and we end up kind of like finding ourselves in kind of like burnout. When we're in fight or flight all the time, it starts to take the toll on our body. And then financial fear is another one, which attacks our self-worth. And we attach our self-worth to how much we're earning physically. And so how that sometimes shows up is kind of like hoarding, or people pleasing, or playing small, or never taking risks, avoiding financial responsibility. We inherit this lack mentality, as poverty mentality, the survival mentality as well. So there's quite a lot, around cultural conditioning in a child, when we look at life, and even if we're in businesses, there's, the fear of failure, the fear of success is two sides of the same coin, right? There's fear around power, rejection wounds, past betrayals that tend to kind of like show up for us as well. So fear isn't the enemy, it's the messenger. It shows us where our energy is frozen. It shows us for the stories that we've been telling ourselves that still govern our soul and our expansion, and where healing needs to happen as well. So I tend to see fear like that as in kind of like, okay, what is the limitation and where do I need to work through that? So spiritually, fear tends to invite alchemy in it. Alchemy, physically, it begs for release. Mentally, it's all about reprogramming. Emotionally, it's all about safety and expressing those emotions. Um, yeah, it's finding ourselves into our true alignment, really, and being courageous enough to actually step into it, which is important. Anyway, I've spoken way too much around this. Usually we jump into meditation straight away, so let's jump in and let's meditate. I'm going to get you to close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Release the tension, the stress. You're calling in the violet flame of Saint Germain. to clear spaces of all lower vibrational frequencies, to release all fear. Breathing in light into the body. And exhaling all that no longer serves. Breathing into our bodies. Allowing the body to relax. Dropping the tension in the jaw. Relaxing the neck, the shoulders. Letting go of any pain as we exhale. I'm going to ask you to bring your focus to the center of the earth, connecting into the crystalline energy that sustains all of life. Bring this energy up through the layers. Open up the chakras on the soles of your feet. And breathe in this energy into your body, into your cells, into your joints, into your organs. And allow this energy to replenish, to replace, to nurture every aspect of you. Bring this energy into the heart space and anchor it into your heart. Feeling completely grounded, completely connected to Mother Earth and all living things. We start to realize that we are an extension of nature, not separate from it. And from the center of our galaxy, let's connect into the golden energy of Christ consciousness, an energy of unconditional love and compassion. An energy of ascension. And bring this energy down through the layers, allowing it to connect to the crown of your head. Strengthening your connection with your higher self, your I am presence, your guides, your angels, your own Akashic Records. As it moves its way down into the center of your mind. Down your spine. clearing all chakras and all layers, all levels, and all dimensions. As we anchor this energy into the heart and we allow it to fill all aspects of our body. Allowing both the energy of Mother Earth and of the central sun. And we start to remember that we are one with Mother Earth and that we are one with the cosmos. And what connects the two is our breath as we continue to breathe. Completely human and completely divine, all at the same time. And I call in the angels of the four directions, starting in the east with Archangel Raphael. And as he starts to move towards us, he offers us a green flame. And we accept and place it into our heart and allow it to grow and encompass our bodies. We give permission to this green flame to allow for healing on all layers, all levels, and all dimensions. As we look to the south, we're connecting to Archangel Michael, the protector, the enforcer of will. And he offers us this beautiful blue flame, the flame that will help us to release what no longer serves, to activate our strength, our will, and our courage. As we start to feel the feeling, the energy of Archangel Gabriel start to approach us in the west, and we start to feel a diamond white flame that he offers us, allowing to receive these opportunities and step into our power as we add this flame into our body. And allow it to encompass all aspects of us. And we start to feel the energy of Archangel Uriel start to move towards us. And Archangel Uriel offers us a ruby red flame. This flame that we accept and place into our heart and allow it to encompass all aspects of us has come to help us shift, to let go, to work through our bloodlines so that the generations that are here and those that are yet to come do not have to carry this burden or this weight. For angels, four flames, completely grounded, completely centered, and completely connected. I ask you to drop into your heart space. And from a place of unconditional love and compassion, we open up the doorway to the Akashic Records, the portal And we state the mantra, keepers of the Akashic Records, please open and allow me access to my records. My name is, state your name. And I ask that you create a safe and sacred space for our highest good and healing. The records are now open, the records are now open, the records are now open. Stepping over the threshold into the records. Into our records. Looking for the intention of unpacking our fear spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, in life and in business. As we address every specific fear in whatever way it shows up. Sometimes we feel alone or unsupported by the universe. I invite you to call in your soul family, your ancestors. Feel them join you in your hall of records. Visualize them standing around you. And as we start to feel their energy, we say to ourselves, I remember I am never alone. I am divinely supported at all times. And we ask for the violet flame of Saint Germain to move through these patterns, releasing, dissolving, transmuting. And sometimes we have a fear of spiritual growth or going deeper into our awakening. I invite you to see the resistance as a wall. Place this wall, every brick is an emotion, is a feeling, is a belief, is a conditioning that we've inherited. And ask for the violet flame of Saint Germain to dissolve it. And as we watch it dissolve, we affirm, I release the fear of my own becoming. I am safe to awaken. And as that starts to release, we start to feel a light, an inner glowing, an inner compass that is stuck. This is us doubting our intuitive guidance, the fear of being intuitive. Bring in the flame into the body and allow the flame to burn away any static. And we activate our inner knowing by affirming, I receive divine truth with clarity. And as we start to expand this, the fear of our own power or our own gifts may start to surface. And it starts to create a picture of our power as a sleeping dragon. I invite you to awaken it gently with light. And as it awakens, we affirm, I reclaim my gifts and power with love and responsibility. And as that starts to awaken within us, we start to release any kind of frequencies of dogma or control. And we start to see the old contracts, deals, and agreements, the rules start to fade away. All control, all suppression. And we affirm, I choose sovereignty, connection over control, and I walk with divine freedom. And as that starts to clear in the distance, we start to imagine these spirals untwisting and straightening into paths. As the violet flame releases the chronic indecision, the what ifs, the spirals, the worry. As the violet flame starts to unwind these, we start to activate and affirm, I choose clarity and aligned decision making now. And as we make those decisions, the impostor syndrome starts to surface. The masks that we wear start to surface. And we ask the violet flame to release these. Dissolve the masks we've had to wear that have kept us safe. It is safe to see our true selves now. And we affirm, I am qualified and I am meant to be here. I am enough and I am worthy. And as we start to say this, the inner critic starts to surface. We welcome it. And we turn the critic into a guide by offering it compassion. We say, my voice is kind, wise, and supportive. And as the inner critic starts to relax, to dissolve, to quieten, the hypervigilance and the perfection starts to rise. And we ask for the violet flame to clear all these frequencies as we call in stillness and trust. And we see the perfectionism as chains falling away. And we say, I choose progress over perfection. And I trust the flow of life. And as the flow starts to move, the mental fog and the avoidance of the truth start to surface. And we ask for the violet flame to lift the fog. And as the fog starts to dissolve, we say, we affirm, I see clearly now. I face my truth with strength and love. And as that starts, we get hit perhaps with the anxiety and the panic in our heart space. I invite you to breathe in the violet flame into the heart. Place your hands there. Allow it to dissolve this anxiety, this panic. And we start to say, I am safe in my body. I am calm and I am grounded. And the next set of walls, the numbness and the emotional shutdown start to surface. And we say it's okay. And we start to visualize the warmth melting the frozen places in our heart, dissolving the numbness. We affirm, we remember, and we say, I allow myself to feel again. My emotions are sacred messengers. And the overacting and the small triggers start to surface. And we see the spark within our hearts turning into a peaceful flame. And we affirm, I respond from a place of presence. I no longer react from a place of wounds. And as that starts to dissolve, the codes, the frequencies of fear and rejection, failure and abandonment start to surface within us. And we start to look and we find that inner child or children that still holds this. And we hold them in our arms and we say, I am loved, I belong, I am already whole and complete. And as that starts to dissolve and we start to feel whole, a grief disguised as anger, control, or resentment might surface. And we start to see grief as a river, letting it flow. And as it flows, we say to ourselves, I release what I cannot control. And I transmute grief into grace. And our body starts to feel the fatigue and the burnout from holding all of these energies for such a long time. And for this, we ask for the violet flame of Saint Germain to release the patterns, the needing to be busy, out of fear of not being able to survive. And here we ask the energy of the crystalline grid that we've brought into our bodies to continue to rise and replenish us. And we affirm, we accept this crystalline energy and we say, I restore my vitality. I am fueled by divine life force. As we breathe in the life force, we start to feel perhaps a tension in the gut and the jaw and the neck and the shoulders, the way we hold the tension. We ask the violet flame to move through these areas of tension, whether I have mentioned them or you feel it in other places. We ask the violet flame to release all that we hold. And we affirm and activate that we choose ease and openness. And the body is tired, yet it cannot sleep. We ask the violet flame of Saint Germain to move through the records, clearing, cleansing, dissolving all that keeps the mind overactive. And we say and we affirm as this continues to clear that I am safe to rest. Peace flows through me now. I call in balance. My body is intelligent. And I return it to its natural rhythm. And as it joins its natural rhythm, we ask for the violet flame of Saint Germain to clear their autoimmune responses, inflammation, and adrenal fatigue. And we fill our bodies with loving energy, especially to our immune system. And we affirm, I release the need to attack myself. I choose inner peace and trust. And as that starts to move into our body, we start to let go of the scarcity mindset the feast and famine cycles. We start to let go, asking the violet flame of Saint Germain to let go of anything that would hinder, that keeps us stuck, that keeps us in scarcity, that keeps us enslaved. And we call in and activate. I stabilize in divine abundance. Prosperity flows to me steadily, easily, ever increasing. I let go of underselling myself. I see myself as receiving as easily as I give, and I affirm, bringing in the codes I deserve to receive fully. My value is sacred. I no longer choose to avoid the financial responsibilities because I do not know. I stand tall in the face of my finances with love, and I say I face money with clarity and confidence and with love. No more overworking, no more undercompensation. And I visualize the balance and the scales aligning, and I affirm my work is richly valued, and I am fairly and joyfully compensated. I drop the guilt around wealth and success. Wealth amplifies my service. I use it with integrity and with love. And I release playing the roles instead of being my authentic self. I see the masks falling away, and our true self glowing through the divinity that we already are. And we affirm, I am safe to be real. My authenticity is my power. I no longer stay in toxic relationships or unfulfilling jobs. I cut the cords to these, and I release what no longer serves. And I affirm I step deep into alignment and connection. No more deflecting joy, pleasure, or rest. I see myself as receiving. I am worthy of joy and pleasure and rest. It is safe to receive. And I no longer avoid change and growth. I welcome it. I walk confidently into the unknown. And I affirm that I trust change. Growth is my birthright. No more living in regret or waiting for somebody. I see the clocks of those waiting dissolving, and I step into my present and I say, I choose now. I create from the present moment. I release the fear of visibility or of being found out. Stepping into the spotlight with light pouring through me, I say, I am safe to be seen. I am here to serve. No more undercharging for my services. No more over-delivering. We affirm my worth is clear and I honor my energy. No more need to overcomplicate simple strategies. Visualize simplicity and alignment, and I affirm clarity is power. I allow it to be easy. I lead with soul and I decide with wisdom and courage. I release the past and I align with my highest version now. I release all fear, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, throughout all of my life, throughout all of my work and my businesses. On all layers, all levels, and all dimensions of my being. It is time to activate the codes that align with the highest potential. Breathe into your heart and call these new templates. Feel them embracing your cells, your thoughts, your emotions, your reality. Bringing in the light codes and activation of divine connection as we walk with Source as our guide. I call in and activate mental clarity so that my thoughts align with the vision and truth of my soul's blueprint. I activate emotional freedom. I feel the courage and respond with love. I activate physical strength. My body is safe, vital, and sovereign. I activate financial prosperity. I create, I receive, I circulate wealth and purpose. I activate authentic living. I am the author of my story, no longer a character in somebody else's script. I activate soul-led leadership. I make bold, aligned moves in life, in business, at work, in every moment of my life. Allow it to ripple into legacy. Feel these codes lighting up in your field like stars in the galaxy, each one pulsing with potential anchored in truth. I fully receive all activations now. I embody them, I radiate them, I lead with them. I am in the new timeline. I am the new frequency. I am the light I was born to be. And I ask for the keepers of the Akashic Records to seal this multi-dimensional clearing in truth, light, and sovereign love. All fear-based imprints are now released across time, space, and dimension. I am anchored in trust, truth, and divine path, moving forward in my highest potential. Giving thanks once more for the keepers of the records, for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding we have received today, for this activation as we move forward, knowing that when we return, we are no longer the same person that we began. The records are now closed, the records are now closed, the records are now closed. Take a deep breath and exhale, and when you are ready, you can open your eyes.